And welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Yes, we're back at the house, back to normal after a little couple of days break. And it's a massive game. It's Celtic Dortmund. Celtic Dortmund this evening. It is going to be absolutely massive. If you don't know what television channel it's going to be on, I'm going to tell you in just a second. But first of all, we're going to jump into the comment section as we always do on this channel, the One Celtic Fans View, who acknowledge the Celtic fans all around the world, and it's good to see that people are catching on. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So yes, it's just a few hours. Celtic do play Dortmund. It is on the television after the Scottish Premiership champions. In fact, wait a minute. Whilst we still are, we need to get this back on the screen, because as it stands just now. Yes, there we go. As it stands just now, Celtic are still second. So let's just milk this for all it may be for the next 4 or 5 hours. Let's just milk this for what it is. And the fact that, yes, as it stands just now, Celtic are still second in the Champions League. Celtic are sitting on a goal difference of +4. They've scored 5 goals in total so far in this Champions League. What will it take for Celtic to maintain that position in second place in the Champions League? And can it be done this evening? Can Celtic maintain second spot? And let's face it, no one expected Celtic to be second. Yes, I did call the video that. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw Celtic sitting second in the Champions League. Nobody whatsoever after game day one expected Glasgow Celtic, Celtic of Glasgow, Celtic FC, Glasgow, Scotland. Nobody expected to see our name up there in lights in second place. So let's make the most of it. Let's enjoy it whilst it still lasts. And can it still last at the end of this evening? That would be a massive result that would send shockwaves around Europe, because let's face it, Dortmund are the team who, yes, they were beaten in the Champions League final last season. They were beaten to the one and only. Let's just forget about them. But they have been impressive in the Bundesliga. Winning 3 and drawing 1 of 5 outings. Well, Celtic, they're 3. Listen, Dortmund are 3 behind the league leaders, Bayern Munich. Right? Celtic are top of the league. We're unbeaten. And no one scored against us in the league either. So in that respect, we are doing, in form-wise, you could say that Celtic are... I'm not going to... Are Celtic the favourites? Can we say that? On League Forum, can we say that Celtic are the favourites in this game in the Champions League tonight? I wouldn't want to say that, because I think it's better. But then we were favourites for the last game, and we won that. So for the first time ever, we're going into a season in the Champions League where Celtic have been marked as favourites and actually won a game convincingly. Let's just see how the night goes. Let's jump into the comments section. Mr. Quinn was in the house. Hello, boys and girls. Thomas Hallen. Hi, guys and fellow Tims. Paul Baird's in the house. Michael Ross. Mon the Hoops. Let's write some more history tonight. Frank Bonner says, come on, Celtic. I'm so excited. What channel is it on? Give me 2 seconds. It is on TNT Sports. It is on TNT Sports tonight. We get it on TNT Sports. TNT Sports from 7:15. TNT Sports. If you've already got BT Broadband, you can get it on that. If you've got Sky, you need the Now Pass to get TNT Sports. If not, everyone else will just have illegal ways of watching. And Celtic TV at this point is going into meltdown saying, Baz, don't tell them about Fire Sticks. It's illegal. We need the TV revenue. Well, see, if the TV was more affordable for football fans to watch, you'd get more people paying for it. But anyway, Paul Bears in the house. Michael says, let's write some more history. Tamak says, hail, hail. Baz, I hope you're good, bud. Says, Nicholas, I'm absolutely fantastic. Had a nice couple of days. I wasn't going to say rest, because it wasn't. It was complete mayhem at points. But last night was good. Nice chilled out vibes. And lots of tapas bars visiting. And what about that random Celtic talk? Celtic scarf in a tapas bar. It was completely bizarre. We're sitting outside. And I'm like, the missus is going, what are you looking at? I'm like, there's a Celtic scarf in that tapas bar. It's got every Spanish team, all in, and then there's a Celtic. And I'm like, we get everywhere. We actually get everywhere. I know I say we're all around the world, and rightly so, but it's complete. Things like that just bring a little smile to your face. They do bring a smile to your face. Mr. Quinn says, hail, hail. J1888 says, hail, hail, boys and girls. Baz, let's do this tonight. Sean is in the house, says, even Baz. Paradise Found is in the house. Also, hail, hail, Baz and all the Tims around the world. I should have trademarked that, shouldn't I? I should have trademarked it. All right, Baz, the Celtic fan says, George. Kaiser's in the house. Hail, hail, legend. How are you? I've just missed out some comments. John is in the house. Says, are you going to the pub to watch the game, Baz? Do a live before and after the game. I'll do a live before the game. I'm going to the pub, but I don't know which pub I'm going to. If I go to the pub, it'll probably be just Sheern's. I don't want to go too far tonight. But I'm not sure. So, yeah, there will be a live. I was going to say an hour and 15 before the game, but I need to go out for food. I need to go out for food with my mother. And so, yeah, there'll be a live before the game. I don't know the exact time yet, but there will be a live before the game. Jacqueline says, yes, we can do it tonight to keep the faith. Ian Boyce says, we aren't favourites, but we have a great chance. Paulo Bernardo is coming to strength, and we're going to talk about Paulo in a minute. Paulo Bernardo is coming to strength. He is our engine in our midfield. And that's a big statement, but we'll know what we get from Paulo. Gerard says, come on, let's get ready to rumble. What time does the drink along start tonight, Kaiser? 5 minutes before the game, Kaiser usually jumps online. First drink of the evening, and Michael Ross. I'm not even looking at drink tonight. No, I just can't. I can't. I think I'll go drink free for about 3 or 4 weeks after those couple of days. 2081, Engels' first goal. There you go, stick a fiver on that. 20-1, said Wilson QW, for Arnie Engels to score the first goal. I tell you, that's some good odds. Stand up and be counted in midfield tonight. We have a chance. I think Jamie B is right. I think if we stand up in the midfield tonight, we'll have a great chance. Paul Bear says we are not favourite for tonight, but as we all know, the favourite don't always win. Dortmund 1, Celtic 3. I'm still going to go for a score draw. I think a score draw will be absolutely fantastic for Celtic, and it is. And I'm hoping wrong, but I'm going to go to the side of caution. Celtic have got an absolutely fantastic opportunity tonight, and I hope they take it. And my only fear is our defence. Add quality, and we could go places, says Michael. I think Trusty was brought in to give us that bit of quality. I think if we had Cameron Carter-Vickers and Trusty in the defence, I think that could really give us a strong defence. Nicola McCaffrey is happy with the draw. Michael Ross is going for 3-2 Celtic. Thanks for doing that, Baz, says Mappy. No worries. Hail, hail from the Highlands of Scotland to everyone in the chat. Free Palestine says, everywhere we are, Celtic pubs, almost every city in the world. Best fans ever. Come on, the champions. Alistair says, hail, hail, Baz. Take the 3-1. He's going to take 3-1. 2-1 says Mr. Quinn. Kevin Kimmett's in the house. Martin Kay's in the house. He's going for 2-2. I've just dropped my guts. Nerves are kicking in. I've not dropped my guts yet. I'd probably dropped enough of them over the last couple of days, to be fair. I have a dream. I've had a dream 2 nights in a row now about 3-0 Celtic. If we win 3-0, we're going to get back on the live after the game, and it'll be something else. We're good enough if we create a shock result. We're good enough to create a shock result. If we get the result tonight against the team that were in the Champions League final last year, there'll be shockwaves. Absolute shockwaves will be sent around Europe. The dark horse that nobody saw coming, Celtic FC, will be up there in and around it on game day 2 of the Champions League. Yes, Celtic are the dark horse that nobody seen coming in the first game, and people will say, look, anyone would have beat that team the first game. But Celtic did it in style, and Celtic scored the goals, and that's what matters in the Champions League in this new format, is scoring goals. Celtic do, and I have to milk it. Sorry, apologies. In fact, no, I'm not going to apologise for Celtic. Celtic FC, Glasgow, Scotland, sitting second. Look at that, sitting second in the Champions League on 3 points, full points on a goal difference of 4, and we're either side of us, we've got a German team, and we're playing a German team tonight, and then we've got Aston Villa below them. Massive. don't think that you can underestimate the size of the task tonight for the Celtic team. What's up with Tifo's and Monty? No idea. William says he's going to go for 3-2 Celtic. Kevin's going for 2-1 for the mighty Celtic. Spacey is going for 2-1 Celtic. Stephen Docherty is going for 3-1 Celtic. Pre-Palestine is going, the Young Celts beat them 4. The Young Celts beat 4-0. Let me just see. And the angles, sorry about that. Just doing that, just jump back into the comments. We had a brilliant week in Benidorm last week, watching Celtic putting on the style. The Shamrock Bar was full of Celtic supporters. Great music, great result. Benidorm was green and white. Good. I'm glad it was green and white. I was nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near the British side of Benidorm. I was in the old town, which was absolutely fantastic. Kevin's going for 2-1. John O'Neill's going for 4-1. For me, Desmond 2-2. That'll do. Let's be realistic. Definitely a draw, says Nicola. William is saying 3-2. John is going 4-1 to us. Don't ask. The drink along is in danger. It might be on. Might only be me on my channel and Dano. Kaiser, you've been kicked off that channel. You've been kicked off the Celtic world. Start your own channel, Kaiser, and do drink-alongs on that. Relying on somebody else's channel. We can get you up to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watchers in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Anyway, I feel like a wee win tonight, says Davey. Tommy says, if we see a show heart determination, I wouldn't mind the loss. If we see show heart and determination, I wouldn't mind the loss. I think that's a very Scottish thing to say. Glorious in defeat. I don't want to be glorious in defeat. I want to let them know that they're in a game, and let them know that Celtic are no pushovers. And I think if we see that and we can play our own game and not get overwhelmed. Listen, players have said it. They went to Ibrox with no fans. And they've came out winners on many occasions over the last couple of years. Going to this stadium, and it's not going to faze these Celtic players. Definitely. I mean, this noise that they go on about. I'd say Celtic Park last week was 2 weeks ago, or whenever it was, a week and a half ago, was better. And I don't think that the Celtic players will be fazed by it at all. If anything, it should be saying to these Celtic players, come on, let's do this. Everyone should be buoyed up by the noise and say, come on, let's shut this lot up. Let's just silence the crowds. And that would be, if you're Callum McGregor in the huddle before the game, stick to the game plan, play our game, don't be scared of anything, go in hard, don't fuck up, don't get sent off, and let's shut this crowd up after 5 minutes. Come on! It'll be that. £20 on Celtic to win over 2.5 goals, says Jeffrey. Buzz and Baz, let's get on it. On the hoops, Mr. Quinn says, Brendan, as our squad playing with true European style, and they're playing and fighting for each other and us, the fans. The Green Brigade have 2 tifos for tonight, do they? I've no idea. I've been away, so I don't have an idea of anything that's going on. Anyone could beat that team in the Champions League, Baz, but their fans can't get into the Champions League. In Glasgow, I wonder who they're talking about. Yup. 3-2 win for the boys tonight, says Ewan Boy Martin. Free hit tonight, no one expects us to win. Exactly, AR. It's a free win. If we get a draw, it's a fantastic result. If we get a win, it's one of the biggest dark horse races in Scotland. It's the team that everyone thinks is just along for the ride. Everyone thinks it's only Celtic. They're never that good in the Champions League. They've pretty much been whipping boys away from home over the last couple of years. Let's go out and show them that, you know what, things have changed at Celtic. We're no longer the team that people think is going to be an easy run. It's an easy away game. The Germans were disrespectful to Celtic at the beginning of the campaign. They seen us as a guaranteed 3-pointer. Let's make sure it's not a guaranteed 3-pointer tonight. Let's make sure that we go out and give them something to really think about. And let's make the rest of European football stand up and say, wait a minute, I don't really fancy playing Celtic this season. It's not going to be a walkover. You're going to be made to have to really work for it. I mean, not that teams had to really work for it. Well, they did, Celtic over the it's a new season. It's a new season and it's a new Champions League format. Jay Johnson says it is all good. He's a bit nervous for the game. Hi, Stephen Johnson, who's in the house. Defeat is shite. That's for Sevco, not us. Yes, defeat. It's not. Defeat is not something that we want to talk about. It is not. And it's not. So you're right, Michael. I don't want to talk about it. I'm confident for tonight, 2-0 the Hoops. It would be a warning to the rest of the group. I don't think it would be just a warning to the rest of the group. I think if we were to get a result tonight, it would be a resounding warning to the rest of the Champions League that, wait a minute, sometimes there's teams that come along, and there's been many teams in the past, and we only need to look back at our own illustrious failure in 2003 when Porto came to town and they played a style of football that got the result. If Celtic can play a style of football that can get a result tonight, Porto then went on to win the Europa, and in the previous season they did what not many teams do. They won the Europa one season and then they win the Champions League the next season. I'm not going to say that Celtic are going to win the Champions League, but there is a team that makes people sit up and take notice and go, wait a minute, I don't really fancy playing them because it's not going to be a great walkover, and they've got some fantastic players and they've got a top manager, and we know that Brendan Rodgers is a top manager. Whoever outside Celtic says otherwise, and some Celtic fans are still not convinced by Brendan Rodgers and Celtic in Europe. Could this be the night to change that? What would be the headlines tomorrow morning if Celtic were to get the upset tonight? Stay positive, everyone, says Paul Baird. The Rangers are shite. Dortmund are levels above the Rangers. They are that, but who cares? Celtic won with Dyson Maida be scoring, and it's going to be 3-1, says John. Time for a goalkeeping masterclass tonight for Schmeichel to help us get the win. This is why we bought Kasper Schmeichel. He has over 106 international caps for his country. He knows how to play at this level. This is why we brought him in. We brought him in for big games like this. It's time he earned his money. No more sitting with pipe and slippers at the back of games, getting excited when Celtic score goals. Tonight it's all about rolling up the sleeves, clapping those big gloves together, dusting them down and making sure that no goals get in the back of the net. Spanish ref tonight, card nutter, seemingly, says Michael Ross. Come on the Hoops, hail, hail, says Paul. A draw would be an excellent result. A win would be the wow factor. I don't think it wouldn't be the wow factor. It would be the holy mother of, yes, Madre Mia, as they say here. I hope the ref doesn't ruin the game. Oh, let's hope not. We would never sell our club for £1. He's going for 2-1 Celtic. Owen Gillespie's going for 3-2 up the Celts. Keep 11 on the field. That's ultimately the goal for this evening. To keep 11 players on the pitch. Brendan Rodgers has mentioned it before at the beginning of the campaign that what kind of let us down last season was that inability to keep all the players on the pitch. And if we can make sure that we do things right, and let's just hope that the ref isn't too biased, that you sometimes find when we play bigger teams, teams that get to the later stages. Some people believe that the refs are brought in to make sure that these teams get to the later stages. I don't believe it. I just think that some referees in Scotland are absolutely, in Scotland as well, they're all mints in Scotland, but in Europe some referees are just mints. Anyone convinced about Brendan Rodgers knows nothing about football, says Guitar Man. Anyone not convinced about Brendan Rodgers knows nothing about football. AJH says we're playing with some grand football. No, let's keep it going. Kieran says I'd be more confident if Cameron Carter-Vickers was playing. Today and tonight is the game where Austin Trusty will be known as a fantastic Celtic football player. I'm going to put that out there right before the game starts. I think we're going to see a player in Austin Trusty that folk will go, okay, Brendan's got a hard decision to make. when Trusty's at full pelt, when Cameron Carter-Vickers is at full pelt, and when Liam Scales is at full pelt? Does he drop Liam Scales, which he was brought in to do? Let's not lie about it, right? He was brought in to play alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers. Tonight is the game that will tell the world if he is up to it or not. This will be the game. This is the type of game that he's probably dreamt of, playing at this level and getting in. If he does it tonight, I think, I said at the weekend he was the one player to watch, and he ended up having a fabulous game. This is different level stuff though. This isn't SPFL. This is the big boys league. This is where you make your real money as a football club. This is where you make your big transfer fees if you're a player. Because if you do it at this level, this is where the big teams come in for you. And I think that every player that walks on the pitch tonight with a Celtic strip on will know ultimately that if they can do it in the Champions League, they can do it in any league in Europe. And that's ultimately what a lot of players are aiming for. Let's not beat about the bush. They all want to come to Celtic to improve as players and to be shown on the big stage. There is no bigger stage than the runners-up to the Champions League last year, so let's hope that he does it. All decent teams are levels above the zombie, Cell Paul Ware. Yep. Hatate or Bernardo tonight? Bernardo. All day long. Bernardo for me. I've been crying out for weeks now to get Bernardo and Engels together. I thought that their play was absolutely fantastic, sublime at times, and I think it's a hard one for Brendan Rodgers. Does he go with Rio Hatate? And let's face it, I've said it before, Rio Hatate doesn't hit the heights for a full 90 minutes. Paulo Bernardo was born to play at this level in Europe, European football. I sometimes think that Hatate, even though he has ambitions to play at a higher level in Europe, if you really want to turn it on and turn on the style and pile on the agony, you need to do it at the highest level. If Hatate gets the shout, he needs to show that he's a top-class European football player. He's not from Europe. That maybe puts teams off. Paulo Bernardo was born on the mainland. Paulo Bernardo was born on the mainland and born to play in Champions League football with Celtic. So yeah, I think I'd go for Paulo, but I'm pretty biased that way. All decent teams at this level. I'm sorry if I've just missed out some comments. Lorna Gallagher's in the house, and Trusty we trust. I hope Bernardo starts, says Ewan Boy Martin. I think Trusty is a good defender. I like Scales. I feel comfortable with him in the team to put on a good show. I think so also. Lorna Gallagher says, hey troops, hope you're all good. And I think Gareth says, I think he's a better player. Talking about Bernardo. Has to be Bernardo, says Michael Ross. Yeah, Jinky was the first player I watched and showed us the way to go. What a privilege to watch him play, says Mappy. Bernardo, says Michael Ross. Let's just jump through some of the comments because there's loads coming in. Paulo should be starters tonight, says Paul Baird. I agree. Bernardo over Hatate. Bernardo and Maida to score tonight, says Guitar Man. If Bernardo scores one of his screamers for outside the box, and if Dyson gets on the scoreline tonight, it's going to be a good night. Because I think if we get 2 goals, we're in the chance of achieving something. With achieving something realistically, even a draw, is that achieving something? Yes, it is. Sorry, but it is. We all said that we wanted a minimum of 10 to 12 points in this Champions League. Everyone looked at this game and thought, right, is this the game that we write off? Is this the away game that we don't think, that we're not confident that we're going into? But that was after game day 1, when we won game day 1 convincingly, and we've watched the way that Brendan has got this team gelled together and playing as a European unit that looks like it may be able to achieve something that's never been done at Celtic for a long time. I think that every fan will be buzzing after tonight. Hopefully. Kuhn has shown a bit of jinky magic. He is that. Kuhn is showing a bit of jinky magic. But I wouldn't go along and saying he's there yet. Thomas says, I agree, Baz. We're going to get with Bernardo. Whereas Rio can be a hit or a miss. He can. And that's the only reason that I have... And it's not a dig at Rio, but it's been realistic. You know that you can get an absolutely fantastic Rio Hatate for about a 10-minute spell in a game, and then he drifts out it. And then again, Rio Hatate he'll get a ball and he'll make a pass, and you'll go, fuck me, that was a pass and a half. But it's that consistency level of doing it at a European level. And I think just there's a little bit of me think he gets a little bit overawed, and I think he gives himself too much a hard time during the game, and I think that's his problem, because he knows if he knows he's not playing well, I think he lets it get inside his own brain, and it just doesn't focus him 100%. It's where you get Paulo Bernardo on the pitch, and you're thinking, this guy's a player. You're thinking, this guy, you're waiting on something creative happening. You're waiting, and you get that with Rio, but I just think that in a European player mentality, Paulo's got that in abundance. I'm about to lose control, and I don't... and I think I'll like it, says Carly. Green Smoke says, Giza win. I think our pace will shock Dortmund. I think our pace will shock a lot of teams in Europe. And that's why I've titled this video, Dortmund versus Celtic, the dark horse nobody saw coming. Because it's true. Nobody saw Celtic coming with the fact that we're sitting second in the Champions League. It's up there. It's up there and the lights. 2-2 says something today. Bernardo should start, says Andrew. Lorna says, yes, sure does, Callie. She went, I don't know. I'm confident. Watch the highlights of their last two games. Defensive horror show. I think that their defensive woes over the last couple of games can play into Celtic's hands. The pace of Kyogo, the pace of Dyson Myra, the pace and trickery of Nico Kuhn. And I've said it before, this little German was born to play for Celtic. And this is the game where he turns around in his homeland and he makes a statement of intent of, do you know what? A lot of people didn't rate me and they didn't think I was going to make it at the highest level. Well, here I am. And here is what you're missing out on. The arrival of Nico Kuhn in Germany tonight will be one of the biggest, if he puts in a cross that Kyogo gets on the back of, it will put his name up in lights. If he can rip their defence a new one tonight, come on. Michael Ross says, hope everyone has got their lucky pants on tonight. I know I have. Desmond Donald says, buzzing for this one. Mona Dyson's Barber Clippers. Can't shake this feeling. We're going to win 2-0, says Carly. Carly, you were almost right at the weekend with your prediction. I hope that you're 100% right tonight. Listen, a 1-0 win. A 1-0 win would do it for me. It keeps us up there. Let's not even get too excited just now. Well done, Batch, on reaching 19,000. Thanks very much. We're sitting on 19,058 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because the next stop is 20,000 subscribers. But before then, way before then, we have to hope that Celtic can maintain this Champions League and maintain some credibility in European football. And I think that's all that we really want. I mean, would we accept just having a little bit of credibility in European football? And I think we're overdue it. I think as a fan base, we're due the club giving us that little bit of credibility in European football. And I think that Brendan Rodgers being allowed to spend the money that he has spent, I think that when we look back to the summer, will this be the summer when we look back in years to come and say, this was the summer that really changed Celtic. This was the summer that changed Celtic Football Club as a business and as a team. Will we look back on this summer and say, when we go out and spend 11 million on Arne Engels, when we go and spend 9 million on Adam Ida, when we managed to get Benfica down from 6 million to 3.5 million, were all fantastic decisions by the club. Okay, yes, the club took its time. And it's not time to bemoan about that, because we're over that. We're over the fact that the club took far too long during the transfer window. But could we look back and say that this is the season that changed Celtic forever? Because I don't think that the Celtic fans would accept going back to buying mediocre players for 1 or 2 million. Mediocre project players. I don't think that the fan base would accept that at all. I think if we don't maintain, and people will say you have to have business acumen to make sure that we stay a profitable club. We can't go spending 30 million every single summer. Well, you won't have to. This is what Brendan Rodgers wants to bring into the Celtic team. If we can go out and buy 1 player, 2 players every year at that kind of money, but then invest into the youth system, invest into the B team, make sure that we're paying young, youthful players good amount of money to stay at Celtic and show them that pathway of going from the B team to the first team and to ultimately playing at Champions League level with Celtic. That is the ultimate goal for Celtic. That's the ultimate goal for a lot of teams around about Europe. But I think that this will be the season where Celtic fans will say, no, we can't go back the way. We can't. We just can't. And hopefully tonight will be the game that will get the fantastic result. Anyway, very hard can't even talk now. I'm that excited. Card happy as the referee. The Huns are backtracking now and saying a weak Dortmund, so we should be beating them. Oh God, hear me. I don't even want to talk about them. Every year you get one team that surprises everyone. Let's hope it's Celtic's turn this year, says Ewan Boyd Martin, and you get the final comment of this show. I just hope that Celtic at the end of this evening are up and around. That position would be absolutely fantastic. Is it realistic that Celtic would finish the evening on second place in the Champions League? I hope so. Realistically, I don't think that we will, but you never know, because we would have to score a fantastic amount of goals, let's face it. And I think if we were to lose on goal difference to get knocked off the second spot, I wouldn't mind that if we won the game tonight. But if we get knocked off second spot because that we've lost the game drastically, I think we'll all be... Let's not even think about that. Anyway, on that note, I'll see you in a couple of hours. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, and let's get ready to rumble. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, all around the world.